He showed me his cat. Oh, his cat. Thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode. So, I am Malia, aka Lilo the Creator, and I am joined here with R. Murphy Jr., aka the Imprisoned Man. So, how are you feeling today?
Good, good, good. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm your host, R. Murphy Jr., aka the Prison Man. We got my co-host, leader and creator, and sad to say we're reporting some terrible news out of Philadelphia. We're gonna speak on those topics, and then we're gonna go into how could Philadelphians be made safer or feel safer in the city in which they call home. And then we want to lighten the mood up and kind of get into Philadelphia's Karen. At least that's what they call it. But before we get into that, um, has there been any updates to the sad news on the Scott case out of Philadelphia?
Also, before that, I would like to introduce a special guest, Shay.
Moving into the topics in our headline, um, what is it that we have on the line? What updates do we have in regard to the case? Because I believe that I saw one where the case was updated from unknown to, I believe, actually a homicide now.
Yes.
Okay, and so what all took place? Give us a rundown, because you know me, I'm behind the wall, so my information is kind of limited.
All right. So to shorten everything up, basically a few days before Kada Scott actually going missing, she had reported that she was being harassed. So suspicion was already high, and the lack of social media and phone usage shows that she didn't go missing just on her own. And so they
Uh-huh.
ended up finding her body. Sadly, it was behind an abandoned school that was there for years.
Do they know what was the specific trigger that caused whatever this confrontation may have been?
And that's the worst part about it because they're trying to understand how Kada Scott and Keon King might have even been in communication with each other.
Well, I mean, speculations are speculations, and no one could go off of speculations. But speculations is kind of all they got because it's so early in the situation. But what are the speculations?
All right. So,
I wanted to say hi too. I'm sorry. At the time I was putting the baby down, but yes, how y'all doing?
good.
Good afternoon. How you doing, Shay? Lovely to have you. I wanted to invite Shay because of her close proximity to what happened in the area of Philadelphia, but also just because she's kind of in that same field as is more dealing with mental health and regards to the first responder field. And also, she's a mother. She's a mother. She's a woman. And I just wanted to know, as a Philadelphian, as a woman, you know, what would be her take on that once we get that. So that was why I brought in our resident psych and trainer. So, what was the specific that I was asking about from you, Lilo?
All right. So, according to them, they actually have text messages between them on arranging to meet up on the day she actually went missing, which was October 4th.
So it's clear that the two had some form of a personal relationship before that. This wasn't like a haphazard encounter or like strangers meeting
Yes.
accidentally.
And you know what I wonder? I wonder if he's maybe an ex of hers that maybe can't fathom to let go of somebody.
Do you know what facts that they came across with from, I guess, earlier in the week to now that made them bump the case up into a homicide, an actual homicide? I believe they said she was shot 2 times in the head.
It was it was mainly, well, it was a gunshot wound to the head, but it really was the autopsy that proved that this wasn't just an ordinary case. It was actually a homicide, and she was killed before she was put back there.
So you saying the only events that led up to this, as far as the media and the authorities knowing, or at least that they're letting the media know and then the general public know, that the only thing that led up to the confrontation two of them was like a text message thing, or wasn't she saying something about she was being stalked or receiving some kind of robocall or something like that leading up
Yes, she
to this?
reported that a few days before she actually went missing, which showed that she knew something might have been happening soon. She just didn't expect it to be that soon or to be that extreme.
So, do you think law enforcement reacted to whatever? Because I believe, like I said, I believe there was a call and there was some concerns being on her behalf. Do you think law enforcement did the best that they could to keep her safe? And speaking just in keeping her safe, but keeping a regular citizen of the city of Philadelphia safe. How do you feel the lead up was handled?
I feel like they could have done better. And I noticed in a lot of cases when it's African American women with the stalking harassment statements, they tend to get brushed off. But if it was another race complaining about being stalked or harassed, they would tend to that case with a little more attentiveness, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. So my next question is for Shay. If you care to, comment or speak on the matter, how do you believe the community has kind of reacted and responded to something happening such a like a close tight knit area? I know at one point in time that was a respectable area with well-off-to-do individuals that lived in that area. How have the area changed?
I think a lot of the residents of the area are afraid because it could have been one of their daughters, it could have been my daughter, my niece, or their loved ones, and it makes you more hyper vigilant. I know, like when I'm walking or coming home and it's dark, I'm like so hyper vigilant. I'm aware of my surroundings, and someone walked by me and I was startled. I never
Wow.
felt that way before, prior to this because, you hear about crime and you watch the news and see things and you're like, okay, it's in Philly, but it's not that close to home. So I used to take my daughter and my niece to that playground that's right next to where her body was found. So I'm just like, wow, like that's really crazy to
Wow.
me. But it's really sad. It's really sad.
It's
My
definitely
heart
sad
goes
and
out to
shameful.
her family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's really sad and painful. Um, what do you think? Because it sounds like you're definitely in tune and in touch with your community, and you definitely seem to get around in the community. So, what is it that you think? What type of measures or suggestions you think um, could be put in for prevention and to prevent any kind of similar situations moving forward? Because I heard that it was Ada Lewis Scott or something like that. The school
Yeah,
that was
that school has
abandoned.
been
The middle
abandoned
school.
for a while. Yeah. Yeah.
How
Just like not having so many abandoned buildings in Philadelphia, like, where people could do things like this. Like that school has been abandoned for so many years, like I don't even know how long, but yeah. And then also, like, why do other neighborhoods that, of people of, white descent have like neighborhood watch, townhome watches and stuff like that, or the better communities? I think that they should start maybe doing something like that where
I
they're
think
patrolling the area and stuff like that.
I think that that's a great counteractive, countermeasure reaction. I think it should definitely be about proactiveness instead of reactive. So right now,
Yeah.
everything is reactive. If they would have gotten a little bit more proactive, I believe that they could have kind of like forwarded the situation. I wanted to know in regards to CCTV. I know a lot of cities is ramping up on that, but I'm under the impression now. Correct me if I'm wrong because I've been behind the wall for the past 22 years, but I'm under the impression that there's certain areas that are getting preferential treatment in regards of extra cameras and extra patrols. And then when you have areas that are more predominantly black and brown and to seem or to appear that they're in a lower tax income bracket, um, the, the security thing that you kind of touched on, that the security thing is kind of lacking. Like you have community groups that have been established and put together in regards to community watch. Each one looking out for others is like a village. Where does things stand in regards to CCTV and that type of technology? Shay?
Well,
For me, I'm unfamiliar with it, so I don't know. And honestly, I don't even watch the news and really, like, pay attention to like stuff because I'm a trauma therapist. So when I come home, I like to shut down and not. I guess, experience vicarious traumatization. But now I feel like I need to be more in tune to know what's going on. So
Yeah.
for me, I don't know where we stand as far as that.
Do you think being a little I was gonna use the wrong word. I'm gonna use the right word. Do you think that the community could benefit some extra eyes? And when I say extra eyes, CCTV being connected into somebody that's watching.
Yes, I think that that would definitely be a great benefit because, like you said, it's extra eyes. Whereas though that person will be monitoring what's going on in the city, and hopefully prevent crime from happening.
And that's all kind of crime. Everyday crime, the crime that I used to partake. 100%, the crime that I used to partake in. I'm first online to have been a part of the tearing down of the community. And when you of a certain mindset, you do a certain thing. When you know better, you do better. So now thinking better, 22 years later, I most certainly think that the communities in which we come from, especially this area in which we talk about, East Minery, West Minery, Lower Germantown, Upper Germantown, Logan, all of them different areas and sections. I know I'm pretty sure that a lot of people went out and got their own type of, surveillance equipment on their homes, ring doorbell or whatever the case may be. But I think that that could be a tool that the city could use to kind of deter any kind of, illicit activity because any guy who's smart and what he do in regards of whatever it is he do, if it's crime or what have you, he's going to be a little extra precautious once you know that there's a lot of more eyes and ears watching what he's doing. So I think that that's something that the city definitely needs to invest in and stop being so caught up with protecting center city and all of the high quote unquote top areas where they want to draw tourists into. We need to focus more in the community, in the areas and within the city where a lot of this crime is definitely taking place. Um, so what was the latest, Malia, that you said that you had that you was able to pull up on this case?
All right. So the latest that they have disclosed so far was that Keon King, he did get charged with homicide along with
Wow.
the other charges that they had, but once they really found out and up the case, that's what he was charged with. And I'm
Uh-huh.
sure they'll probably have another update today on the news.
Alrighty. So I know that the National Guard was brought into DC. Right, kind of moving on from this area, but it's still kind of touching base on it in regards to making the residents of any city, any neighborhood feel safe. I know the National Guard was deployed out to DC and Memphis, and they're trying to push them into Chicago. Um, the National Guard is the National Guard. I think we all here know who the National Guard is and what they represent. Shay, I wanted to ask you, as a tax-paying citizen who pay your bills and who migrates back and forth to work and live in a highly hustling, bustling type of city, do you think the residents of Philadelphia in that county, do you think they need the assistance of outside authorities to make them feel safe?
Yes, I would say I believe so because just like even with the gun violence in Philadelphia and the youth, it's out of control. I just feel like they need that to see. They need that presence to see like you know it's real out here. They're not playing with us. We need to stop doing the things that we do. I think that they definitely um, come in so that crime can be decreased. So yeah, I think that that would be a good idea.
So before we get into the I guess pros and cons of having some form of outside authorities come in and help the local law enforcement, police, and ensure the safety of citizens, I would like to know, and maybe you got these statistics for me, Lilo. What was the crime rate like? Like car theft, simple theft, shoplifting, and falls in that category. Rape, murder, drug offenses. What were the numbers prior to the National Guard coming into DC, and what are the numbers now that they have quote unquote been there making all of DC safe for the president?
Alrighty, just gotta pull up my chart. All right, so it says in the year leading up to deployment, the crime rate had already been falling in DC following a surge in 2023. And in 2024, it was a 26% reduction compared to the same period last year.
Uh huh.
And then
So
By August
Go ahead.
of this year, they had hit a 30-year low,
Uh huh.
even as the federal government were preparing to send in forces.
So, do you think the decrease in crime already was taking place before the National Guard was kind of put into the tourist areas, not into the interior of Washington? They were put out there to protect monuments and buildings.
I feel like it was already going down, but just so they felt like they were actually, and I hate to say it like this, but doing something, they put them in like the popular areas instead of actually going to
Where
where,
not much take place.
everything takes
Where it
place
all
at.
happened. so, what was the statistics and numbers on Memphis? And while you pull that up, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna refer to Shay back to Philadelphia. There could be a great benefit of let's say it's the National Guard being that outside influence or authority that come in and help back up Philadelphia PD, right, and police and neighborhoods and so on and so forth. If they're not just protecting downtown and the art museum and Market Square or Philadelphia Designer District or whatever it is that they calling it now, right? If they coming into around the way, like what I know around the way to be, what type of adverse reaction could that have with the citizens and other taxpaying citizens like yourself? Do you want to see a militarized presence in your neighborhood?
I don't know. I just think that if one thing doesn't work, you have to try something else. And I just feel like Philadelphia is definitely not safe anymore. I have a personal issue with it because I lost a few family members within the last couple of years to gun violence, and I feel like maybe we need to have military presence in here so that they can see like, okay, this is not a game, and it saddens me to see our youth, not even making it to full adulthood, like they're dying at 16, 17, under 21. It's really sad that going to a janaza and seeing my little cousin that was 16 years old and you know in that state it's just oh my gosh, it's heartbreaking. So for me, maybe we have to try it and see what happens. So that's where I'm at.
So you believe a semi-drastic approach towards policing kind of benefit the people who are basically tired of the senseless killing and just basic lawless behavior that's basically taking
Right.
place within the city.
Right. And it's not to say that they should be there forever. So like if they, show up and, the crime decreases and things get better, then they can move out. But I definitely feel like something has to change, something has to give because yeah, just watching the news this week, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is a lot to, take in, and process because like I said before, I don't really watch the news like that, but all of the stuff that keeps occurring in Philadelphia and other, tri-state areas is it's really a lot.
So I agree with you. Coming from, I can say I've experienced both sides of law abiding, which is, where I'm at now with it, right? In my older stage, in my more better way of thinking, clearer thinking way, versus my old stage where I was causing the mayhem and the lawlessness. So I definitely agree with you. I personally believe that a presence would definitely be needed. Coming in, of course, respecting the neighborhood and the people that live in these communities that have to be in these communities once they do pull out and leave. But it just has to be further than that. A plan has to be put in place. And now I'm speaking about what takes place if they do come, crime goes down. People just kind of like go like roaches when the lights come on. When the lights go off again, what happens? What is to take place? I think the youth need some type of outlet. I think the youth need some type of guide. I mean, they need some type of secondary outlet for whatever it is that they're trying to get off, whether it's they need some money, they need some type of outlet, some nurturing, some education. If it's, looking for some type of like sport outlet or some type of recreational outlet, riding bikes, so on and so forth, skateboards, something needs to be nourished other than what's being nourished now. And I think that along with bringing in outside authorities, help showing that sign of force, saying, hey, listen, we're not going to go for this on our streets. People want to live in state safety, decency, and cleanliness. There has to be a attraction plan for what to do with the youth. and everybody kind of basically got chip in and step up. You know what I'm saying, to kind of make sure that you tell that guy, hey, put this gun down, but what is it that you telling him to put in his hand? Right. You dig what I'm saying? You telling them, hey, put these drugs down, but what is it that you telling them to put in their pocket in regards to greenbacks? They say that there's a lot of employment out there, but if you're not putting people in, you're putting if you have a bunch of skilled positions available that calling for skilled individuals that's given a fair wage and fair benefits, then that means you have to then make sure that these people are properly educated. This is why I lean so much towards vocational schools, trade schools. By the time you hit ninth grade, I personally believe a trade should be handed to you and available for you to pick up and study. So by the time you graduate high school, you already on your career path. You already probably in the workforce. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Because it's like it's easy to tell a guy that came where I came from, don't do this, but then what is it that you give me to do? That's kind of like what the mindset is. But definitely believe that there should be law and order without a doubt. Without law and order, you have in total chaos. This isn't even the beginning of it, so we can imagine if it could get worse. Then, geez, you know what I'm saying? Like, what did people do? You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, there was something I heard about a Philadelphia Karen, and I think you could bring that up to Lilo. You could slide over to that light moment for a second.
Alrighty, so basically, a quick little summary. It was a Phillies game, of course, and it was a home run ball. Now, the Philly Karen and a father with his child, they both went to reach for the ball, but the father ended up catching it, and the Philly Karen. All right, so basically, and after that whole situation happened, the Marlins staff actually presented him with a signed bat from Harrison Bader, and the Phillies actually invited him to meet the player after the game. So she might have got the home run ball, but he actually got the memories to last him longer than just having the home run ball. Still, we do not have the identity of the Philly Karen, but there was two ladies who terribly got mistaken as the Philly Karen. One was in New Jersey, and she had to clarify on Facebook that she was not at the game and she is a Red Sox fan. And then another individual was misidentified, leading to online harassment. And one thing about that, I do want to say if we don't, I get somebody may look like someone, but we shouldn't harass that person due to a speculation or something that we think, or we're just being a follower because everybody else is saying it's that person. Because harassment can lead to a lot of things. So I say just be cautious about what you say about certain people, especially if you don't know the full story or if you don't know them. All right, and some of the reactions and questions from fans, everything. One, adults should definitely prioritize safety, fairness, and respect for children in a shared public space. And for child enjoyment, a small gesture like giving the home run ball that could have made his day instead of trying to be rude. And because be honest, you may not have even wanted it if you didn't see somebody else probably did want the ball as well. And also for social media ethics, a viral shaming moment can escalate minor incidents into harassment, misidentification, and lasting reputational damage. So, and lastly, this incident raises awareness about entitlement and digital responsibility in modern society. So, with that, not all the time do you have to be rude about a situation. You can confront somebody in a respectful manner, especially if you see there is a child with them. Treat others how you would want somebody to treat you or treat your child. All right. So, Shay, I would like to get your opinion on this. How do you feel like she could have what do you feel like she could have done differently in this situation after hearing everything?
Um, I just feel like you said, entitlement. I just feel like she felt entitled. You had to just cut your losses. You didn't get the ball. She could just, simply said like, "Oh man, like close," and smiled about it or something like that. But to have conflict over, something and cause a scene and stuff like that, I don't think that was appropriate. And I like, you know, that he gave her the ball and basically let her know like it's not that deep, And I'm happy that it turned out really well for him. He got to actually meet the player, and he'll have that moment for a lifetime. And that was, even better. So just doing good deeds and handling situations in a healthy way can also benefit, you know, the person.
Yeah. So, pardon the interruption. Shay touched it right on top of the nail, picked up exactly what I was trying to say. It's a whole thing. I think a lot of people in society has this, um, regardless of the race I was saying, they have this, I don't know if it's a nepotism thing or I don't know if it's like, I don't know if it's entitlement. I'm going to say entitlement, something that everybody can relate to. And a lot of people got it. It's just that we oftenly notice other people of fairer skin and other races trying to exercise it and force and push that will on others. As she said, it was a good teaching moment for the father, and that's basically kind of what I was going to ask you. Like, what would you have done as a parent? You dig what I'm saying? You're there with your son or you're there with your daughter, and that type of a situation happened, and basically you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's, we didn't get the ball. It's all right. You gonna have plenty of balls. You feel what I'm saying? Like y'all got the ball. It's cool. Go ahead. But her entitlement wouldn't allow her to do the right thing, and she had kids with her as well. You often have to take the teaching moments to teach those younger kids and those younger people that's underneath you. I know you said that you don't watch the news, and we're moving on from the Philly Karens. I guess she probably didn't of the Philly Karen. We want to move on to protesting. And because of your field and because of your wind down, Shay, I know you said that you like to come home and kind of chill and wind down and kind of get your mind out of the whole worldliness of the world, right?
Yeah.
Have you been keeping up with the ice raids, though? I mean, it's kind of like in your face every day, so I don't know if you could ignore it.
I wouldn't say I have been keeping up with it, but I am aware of it. Yeah. And I understand what they're trying to do, but it's it's the way that you do things. And I think some things that they do is inhumane. And from what I had saw in the past, recently I'm not aware of what's going on. So if you will enlighten me, that will help me.
All right, so I don't really so much as think that their practices, law enforcement in general, at the end of the day, any of us who have had any kind of encounters directly or indirectly with law enforcement, we have to already know, like, they're just not coming to approach many situations with kid gloves. So now that they have gotten themselves so far down a rabbit hole with the way that they have been approaching this enforcement of immigration, um, you have people, who are extra hyped up and extra vigilant because a lot of people are saying that their constitutional rights are being violated. And you have a lot of people that's basically saying that some people that's being gripped up and grabbed and being taken to these centers are actual American citizens.
Right.
So there's a lot to be said to that. And you definitely don't want to violate no one's civil liberties and rights because when you on this American soil, you have certain rights and certain liberties that should and must be respected at all times, regardless of who and what and where you are. With that being said, it's the protest in which I really kind of wanted to speak on. And the new me speaking, a lot of people might say, oh, I remember that guy, he was X, Y, and Z. When you know better, you do better. And the new me speaking, right? I must say that if you protesting a cause and you are an American citizen or you're a naturalized citizen or you're a citizen because you got your green card or your naturalization or whatever the case may be, and you're protesting what you feel to be unjust treatment to migrants and immigrants of the like. Why are they interrupting? What I'm seeing on TV is people interrupting with law enforcement doing their job. So now the scenes are turning chaotic. Rocks are being thrown, bottles is being thrown, sticks is being thrown, pepper spray and gas and fire bombs. And if you're supposed to be protesting and rallying for a good cause, why are you putting your personal feelings and opinions on this cause and creating another situation or issue to be addressed? Now your original cause is kind of being outwashed by your violent and belligerent behavior. Mm-hmm. Have you been seeing that?
Yeah, and I think that it's pointless. Like, even thinking about like the protests in Philadelphia and stuff, and people started looting and doing, other things like that. That's not why we're protesting. We're protesting for a cause, and like you said, if you're doing, inappropriate things or you're throwing rocks and sticks and being violent and belligerent, like what's the point of it? Like, what is it really for?
And what is the cause? How is your cause supposed to be taken serious? You're gonna burn down your own neighborhood, right? You're gonna ride and loot and burn down the drugstore that your mother or your grandmother or your child has to go to. You're creating a food desert. Inner city urban communities are already dealing with food deserts. There's a lack of grocery stores within close travel and proximity of people's homes and neighborhoods. So now you're gonna go and burn down the only drugstore in your neighborhood for selfish gain, because you're not going to say that it was because it was for Black Lives Matter or it was for immigrants or it was for police brutality or what have you, because the two don't have nothing to do with the other, right?
Right.
You're getting so far away from what the real issue was, and that's kind of what I'm seeing on TV right now. Today, every time I turn it on, it's like I'm looking at, I guess these are American citizens, naturalized citizens, or people who became citizens. I guess they know that they're legal and entitled and feel like, oh, well, you can't deport me. The worst you could do is lock me up for interference of authorities and their duties or whatever the case may be. I'm just looking at people being dragged all around the street and look like they're getting beat up and throwing themselves on the front line. And I guess me personally, I just I don't see the use of it. And I was speaking about this in another cast that might have got posted last night, so it may kind of seem a little redundant. But the point that I'm trying to get to is that you cannot take something that is bad and be against it and then go out and do more bad and think that you have a leg to stand on. It's counterproductive. It's not fruitful. And then
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead.
No, I said I agree. That was it. Yeah.
And then you know what I'm saying, you got these drug strikes that Lilo might be able to pull up some info for these drug strikes that's taking place. I don't know if you've been aware of it, but our president, I call him everyone's favorite drunk uncle, but it is what it is. This guy, this guy's crazy, man.
Yeah.
He like everybody else is bad guys. They're bad guys, and we got to do this. And you and I know some bad guys, and these bad guys that you and I know, Shay, and that I never at no point in time had 34 felonies. This guy got 34 felonies, and he's running the country, right? They sentenced me and locked me up and threw away the key and gave me a 50-year sentence, and I have a single felony on my record. This guy got 34 felonies. He's running the country. I don't know what's to be said about that, but he's seeing that these people that he's killing on open waters and international waters,
Yeah,
are drug cartel individuals. Now, my thing is I know why you're killing them out on open waters, because there's certain rules of engagement, there's certain laws that you just don't have to adhere to, and you don't have no one to answer to when you do these things. Yeah. Once again, you have due process when you on the land, on whoever's soil or land. You have some form of due process and protection. That due process and protection is being taken away from what I'm being told and from what I'm seeing and believing is innocent villagers fishing in the ocean that's being blown out of the water, and they being called drug cartel um leaders or drug mules or whatever. But my thing is where's the drugs at? There are no drugs. There are no drugs because you blew the boat to smithereens.
And
Like,
6 people were killed.
Smithereens. And all my time in doing crime, whenever I was brought in front of some form of municipality, they had some type of evidence on the table to say, Your Honor, this is why we brought him in front of you, right?
Absolutely.
You blew the boat to smithereens and the people to smithereens, so you don't even have people to bring in front of any kind of judiciary committee. So, like, what's going on with that? How do you feel about that? Because what if American citizens go out or are out on their boats and they go into some of this international water that's close to some of these quote unquote Latin countries, and they find themselves attacked by their government.
Yeah, I just think it's horrible. Like I know 6 people were killed. The U.S. attacked another boat. I just like politics is crazy. Like it's just
politics is crazy.
Yeah, so I'm just like, this guy is crazy. He runs the country like a gangster. Like he's a businessman. That's what he does. Yeah. Yeah, Trump is something else. But like, I don't even know what to say. It's just crazy.
He run the jank like a gangster with an iron fist. Oh, so that's why him and Putin get along so well.
Yeah.
Because Putin was a gangster. He was ex KGB. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people know that dictatorship going over there in Russia. But I definitely kind of feel the same way. I kind of see a lot of those street tactics where it's like shoot first, ask questions last. He don't care. And when it comes to defending the country for legitimate means, I guess you want a guy like that behind the button who pull the trigger. But when it comes to weaponizing the judiciary system, I see that he had the one sister, the attorney general in New York, brought up on charges for I guess some type of mortgage fraud, and then he's going after Steve Banner, and I mean, I guess his whole thing is he's gonna go after everybody who played a part in bringing him in front of a judiciary committee and holding him responsible for, I guess, his crimes and his acts. So I guess this is his retribution thing. But I guess, like you said, this is politics. If this is politics, then, geez, Louise, I don't know what the people should do. American first, but I don't see America getting nothing but high prices. And speaking of high prices, you out there shopping in the real world. How is that affecting you?
Yeah, it's like crazy. The cost of living is much different. Like going to the grocery store, and I'm just like, wow. Like every time I go to the market, things have increased. I'm just like, it's really crazy. So, but what are you going to do? So you just have to,
bear and grin it and hope that it passes over.
Yeah, hopefully,
So basically, those who voted for him and his voting populace, do you think this is what they voted for? High, vicious increases at the supermarket?
No, I don't think they voted for that. I think that people had hope and they thought that he was going to make America great again, like he says. And then they're learning that they maybe made a mistake for voting for him. Like I hear a lot of people that I know personally that had, voted for him. They're like, I wish I didn't, but I just didn't want to vote for Kamala. Like, so, yeah.
So two things real quick. I think he did come reach his goal and his agenda, making America great again. The question is, who did he make it great again?
Great again for exactly.
When was America ever great for everyone collectively with equality? Right? You always had those who were downtrodden and getting stepped on, and you always had the rich being rich and keeping it rich. So maybe he did make America great again for them and those, right? For his constituents. Speaking of that, I thought you as a woman of African descent, you Malia as well, right? How do y'all feel as women? And if Kamala Harris would have won the presidency, neither of you have to disclose, your party's affiliation in regards to politics. But I personally, as a man, I pride myself in being a respectable and decent and stand up man. I personally, as a man, feel that Kamala Harris got a bad shake, and she got a bad shake from our own community. How do y'all feel as women? We can start with Lila, then go to Shay.
I'm it was 50-50 with her because it would be nice to see a African American female in the presidential spot that you really have only seen one African American person in before. But then at the same time, it's like she could have discussed a lot more than what she did. And I feel like certain points she could have hit a little bit better, and then other stuff kind of not pushed back completely, but put on the back burner to focus on the crime, the education, school programs, stuff that's actually helpful to our community in this exact moment.
Okay. And how do you feel, Shay, about that?
I definitely agree because I felt the same way. I felt like some things that she was focused on didn't align with my beliefs and my, you know, how I felt about things. I'll just leave it at that. But I just, you know, with her, it was 50-50. And it was like, when it came to that, it's like picking the lesser of the two evils because I'm like, neither one of them, you know, were good candidates, in my opinion. You know, so I'm like,
surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to hear that from two women. I'm not gonna lie. I was team Kamala Harris for two reasons. And the number one is because she was a sister. I believe in nepotism. I'm biased in that way. Take me to the stake. Take me to the stake and crucify me. I'm biased in that way. I'm team pro Afrocentric, right? So she had me on that one. Then she was a woman, right? I got nieces, I got nephews, right? I have my goddaughter. I know you as a successful, decent, respectable woman. You have a lot of women in your family. I personally wanted her to go in for no political reason at all. I wanted her to go in for strictly morality reasons because it would have sent a message to young girls outside of their mothers and outside of their grandmothers and outside of their teachers and outside of any respectable, decent people that they may know when they're in the confines and circles, it would have sent a message to them that the way to get to the top is not the Kim Kardashian way. That's not the only way. The Nicki Minaj way, the Cardi B way, the mulatto way, and I could kind of continuously go on and on. That a lot of young sisters outside of their household, they need a strong representation coming out of the African diaspora to say, look, this is how you win. You win clean. You win appropriately. You put your head down, grindstone, and you get it. Look at yourself. Right. At least, accomplished, successful, a proper shining example for your daughter of this is how you get it. She's getting it in the household, but aren't you afraid of what is she getting when she go outside of the household? What image is being projected to her?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely agree with those things. You know, but we always think about like racism, but there's sexism. And I just feel like the country didn't want a woman to be president. I don't care if she was of African, descent or anything. Men, and it's sad to say it,
That's
the world
sad.
didn't want a woman president. Yeah.
That's so sad that those clowns that so-called call themselves men couldn't see a strong woman, regardless of what her race was, as being in a president, holding the highest seat in office, as if what she wouldn't have done a good job. Right. I don't think that the sister, I think so. What's her name? Sheree Parker, the new mayor of
Sherelle
Philadelphia.
Parker. Sherelle. Yeah.
I don't think she's doing bad. I like a lot of her policies, the curfew thing, certain cleaning up aspects and preferences. I think she could kind of like kick in and do a little bit more. But
Right.
far from what I'm hearing, it's not a bad job.
Right.
I'm team girl. I think she should have been a president, and I think she should run again. And outside of any political reason, it would give that community that we come from that strength and that hope and that understanding. You can be who you could be because she has a public platform.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's really what my whole thing was. And I just want to leave the people with be the change that you want to see in the world. You feel what I'm saying? If you see something, say something. If you feel that your community is getting slighted, if you feel that your community needs some protection, you got to step up to the plate and do it. Don't worry about what somebody else should have been doing or not doing. You have to step up to the plate and do it. Be the change that you want to see in your community. I want to leave y'all with peace, love, and blessings. And at the same time, uh, make sure y'all tune in. Make sure y'all go out there and get fantasies of a convicted felon and play for keeps. They're two good, great reads. And Shay, you want to lead the people with a last thought?
Yes, just thank you. Thank y'all for having me. It was a pleasure. And hope everyone has a good day.
I appreciate your work and your attention in the mental health field and industry. It definitely needs someone like you with that magnetic force. So I greatly appreciate your attendance and attention to that mental health thing because it's greatly needed in our community.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
What you got for the people, Lilo?
I just want to say, if, like I said before, if you want to address something, address it respectfully with a nice demeanor around you because that can actually get you really far. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you need help. If you feel like anything is going on that you might need to talk about, feel free to go to anybody you feel comfortable with. Express yourself, remain positive, and I want to say thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share with a friend. Thank you for watching.